Yes, you may begin.
Okay, I'll start over. Thank you also everyone for helping us through our technical difficulties. So again, welcome to our annual Benchmark Conference. I'm Jessica Callow, Immediate President of the Palm Beach County Bar Association. As I noted before, going virtual wasn't the way we planned for our conference to be held this year, but just the same, we don't want to stop COVID, or we don't want COVID to stop us from presenting our sessions and this program. I would like to thank our generous law firm and business sponsors for supporting our virtual event. All of our sponsors were recognized on your screen at the beginning of the program, and we are very grateful for their support, especially when we had to make the change from a live event that everyone expected to this virtual event. Next, I'd like to introduce Salesia Smith-Gordon and Michael Pike, your 2020 Bench Bar co-chairs. Along with their Bench Bar committee, they have put in so much work this year to ensure a successful conference. Their efforts have not gone unnoticed, and I commend their committee's ability to seamlessly pivot to a virtual conference. Salesia will now introduce our keynote speaker, and you'll hear from Mike at the end of the program. However, before I turn it over to Salesia, I finally want to thank everyone attending Bench Bar this year. Your continued support of our virtual programs since the pandemic shut our office down in March helps keep our bar running smoothly and allows us to feel connected as a legal community. Here's Salesia, and thank you.
Good morning, good morning. We have so much on our agenda today, and thank you for being in attendance. Our agenda today includes the state of the court by our circuit Chief Judge, Krista Marx, as well as an inspirational speaker, Walter Bond. We have 3 prestigious awards that we're also going to be recognizing today, and our awardees are also present. I'll ask, I don't know if you can see her or not, Chief Judge Marx to please show herself, and Mr. Bond. I do believe I'm supposed to introduce Chief Judge Marx first, and I think that would be proper. Judge Marx is a graduate of my alma mater, Florida State University College of Law. Go Seminoles. She graduated in 1985. After that, she served 13 years as an assistant prosecutor or assistant state attorney in Palm Beach County. In 1998, she was elected to the bench. And recently, she was reelected to serve a second term. Ambitious, yes, she is. Stellar, yes, she is. Determined, yes, she is. High achiever, yes, she is, and all of that. She's also only the second woman to serve as chair of the JQC, or Judicial Qualifications Committee. She has a lot of accolades, and much respect should be given to Judge Krista Marx. I'm going to have Krista Marx please give your state of the bench address.
Thank you, Salesia. I appreciate those lovely words. And good morning, everyone. It is a pleasure to see some of you. We can only see one screen at a time. Who would have thought we'd be here? So it is more than a year since our last bench bar. And I don't know about you folks, but nothing much has been going on in the courts. This has been a crazy time. When I became Chief Judge in 2017, I would have never, ever imagined that the year 2020 would look like that. And I know it is one for the ages and a year that none of us will ever forget. There have been huge changes for all of you for the way you practice, and tremendous changes within the courts. So I want to touch on that a little bit. Since this first broke out and we started hearing about it, my top priority has been to maintain access to the courts. It's a constitutional right, and you know, in the legal profession and in the judiciary, we have a lot of strong opinions. So those first couple of weeks were wildly bumpy and marched with making determinations of what the right thing to do was, because hand in hand with my overarching theme of let's keep the courts open was the urgent need to keep all of the judges, the court users, you, the attorneys, and all the litigants safe and sound in this tumultuous, crazy, anxiety-producing time. So with those two goals in mind, we moved forward, and I liken it to trying to turn an ocean liner around on a dime, because all of a sudden, you know, we were coming to a screeching halt. In certain circuits throughout the state, they did in fact shut the courthouses down altogether. That remains true in a couple of circuits. We never, ever did that. And I maintain that we are essential, that our community will not remain healthy and thriving when there is no access to the courts. And the fact of the matter is, no matter how scary or dreadful this period of time has been from a health perspective, that we have dedicated ourselves in the 15th, hand in hand with you, the bar members, in making sure that we keep cases moving along and that we provide the essential services to the community that are absolutely necessary for us to remain a healthy county. There were huge changes right from the beginning, and it was pretty much non-stop action all day long, every day, trying to figure out what we were going to do. As most of you know, in the beginning, it took us a while to even get Zoom licenses. That throughout the circuit, we were using different platforms, that it was hard to get everybody on the same page and to even get access to that, because obviously there was a worldwide demand. But we were able to smooth that out, and then I think that we have a good bit of uniformity. Every single judge has a Zoom license, and I know the vast majority of them have been using them for the bulk of the cases. We had to hurry up and get everybody trained because, you know, none of us were using those kind of platforms to conduct court. We had to be analyzing on a daily basis which are the hearings that absolutely must go forward, that are essential. We were getting together with the chief judges and the chief justice and getting AOs every few weeks that we had to get lockstep with. And so it was a really, really, without question, the most difficult, challenging time of my 30-plus year career was those first few months. Things have started to calm down a little bit, and we're starting. It's just not as nonstop crazy as it was. I'm proud of the fact that in the nation, we were some of the very first courthouses to get freestanding temperature machines. We've done a good bit of research on it, and we may well be the very first courthouses in the nation to have those red alert machines. I imagine a lot of you have come to the courthouse because I analyze the foot traffic in and out of our 5 courthouses on a weekly basis. And I know a lot of you are continuing to come to court for essential hearings. So I'm sure you've been through those awesome red alert temperature machines that the sheriff so generously gave to us out of their budget, and the county has helped facilitate making sure that we have everything we need to keep everybody safe and sound. But we'll be using those temperature machines for a good long time to come. I am extremely proud of the 15th. The chief judges throughout the state and Chief Justice Kennedy have gotten to know each other so well this last year. We used to meet quarterly, and I mean, there was a time when we were getting on the phone weekly and talking to each other. So certainly I know, in comparison to other circuits, that the bench and the bar stand out head and shoulders compared to what other circuits are doing. And so I credit the fine, wonderful, dedicated judges of the 15th, as well as the outstanding bar that we have in this community. And I know that many of you were working nonstop, that there were days that you know, people were anxiety ridden. The rumor mill was in overtime. I can't tell you how many days were dedicated to just trying to ease anxieties and to get everybody calmed down, because the rumor mill was working overtime with regard to, it kept getting reported that the courthouse was closed, which it never has been, not for any single day. You know, we have a Cat 5 hurricane, all of you know, or maybe you don't know, we never ever shut down court services. It's our primary goal is to make sure we're providing access. And so that continued to go on through all of these difficult months that we've all been dealing with this. Here we are in August, and I would never, ever have anticipated that we would still be up to our eyeballs in this. But yet, here we are. And I know that everybody is anxious for us to get moving along to whatever our new normal will be. I will say this, I think, you know, when we come out of it, we're going to be so much more technically savvy. We'll continue, I'm sure, to use some of these platforms to save money and time for the lawyers and the litigants. But what that's going to look like remains to be seen. We all know that the fact that there are no jury trials has, by and large, stymied our practices, because at least in the trial courts, it's civil and criminal, where juries are needed, we just haven't been able to move our caseloads as much as we'd like to. But I am astounded at the hard work of the judges. And I wanted to just share with you, since March, some of the numbers that the divisions have been reporting. In circuit civil, they have held over 9,000 hearings. The felony judges have handled over 12,000 hearings. Family and probate, almost 6,000, more than 8,000 in juvenile. In county criminal, 22,000 hearings. We have traffic court going again, and that's a rarity. A lot of the circuits don't have that. So I really, really applaud the judges and you, the members of the bar, for getting on board and figuring out we have got to get this going. Because I'm sure a lot of us know that for the first couple of weeks, we just kind of were at a screeching halt as we added in just essential court hearings. So listen, for now, we remain in phase 1, which is completely explained for you in the Supreme Court administrative order, as well as the AOs that I have been issuing, which are always on our website, and you can access those. I actually will be updating the 15th Judicial Circuit Administrative Order on Monday, but that will be minor tweaks that pertain to deadlines, as we just got another AO from the Supreme Court this week. So in phase 1, again, we can have very few face-to-face hearings. And when we do roll into phase 2, which it's anybody's guess when that's going to happen, because here in South Florida, we're still continuing to see such high numbers. And we have to meet 5 particular criteria or benchmarks set out by the Supreme Court before we can go into phase 2. And we're frankly not there yet. It's 14 days of a downward trajectory of COVID is really the major hurdle that we're gonna have to get over. And we're not really seeing that downward trajectory here in Palm Beach County yet. But as soon as we do, we'll ease into phase 2. You're not going to see a major difference in phase 2. There will be some hearings that I will add to the, it's okay to have them face to face. And I have been making exceptions for things that are extremely time sensitive or need to be addressed. But phase 2 isn't going to look a whole lot different. We'll only be in that for 30 days before we can go to phase 3, unless of course one of these things happens where we would have to scale back to phase 1. And phase 3 is when we'll start bringing jury trials in. Oh boy, that's going to be fun. It's going to be, I think, the hardest hurdle that the chief judges have faced thus far in this pandemic, is when we start inviting jurors back in. Some of you may know that they did a civil jury trial in Miami, non-binding, to give it a go. It was more of a hybrid. They picked the jury remotely, and I think it's a long way off before that becomes a regular practice. I certainly have heard fears from members of the bar who aren't in the criminal arena that the day is going to come that all the judges are going to have to dedicate themselves to criminal jury trials. But I say do not fear that, because we have 7 circuit felony judges and many county criminal judges, and the day that they're all in a jury trial and I've got to assign civil judges to come in and do criminal trials, I'll be doing cartwheels down the street, because I just don't anticipate that there's going to be, you know, if we have 8 jury trials going at once in the Palm Beach County Courthouse, that'll be a great day, and I don't see it happening anytime soon. I know that you're all anxious to get back to jury trials, and certainly the judges are as well. It is predicted that by next summer, we will have a backlog of 1 million cases in the state of Florida. So I know many of you remember the foreclosure backlog, and we managed to get through that, and we will also get through this. It's just the great unknown of trying to figure out when that's going to happen. Despite all that, we've had a lot of changes at the 15th. We all know that we lost our beloved Judge Colbath, and he was replaced by Renatha Francis, and we're so proud of her for getting appointed to the Supreme Court. Our wonderful Judge Jessica Tickton will be leaving us in January and will be sorely missed, and she has been replaced by Paige Gilman, who was appointed and elevated from the county court, and Paige is doing an amazing job, and I know that she'll serve the circuit bench equally well. Judge Artel was appointed to the 4th, as I'm sure you all know, and we just got Laura Laurie from the state attorney's office appointed in his position, and she'll be starting on the bench next month. Judge Cunningham and Judge Perez, some of our longest sitting judges, also left in the last year. And we have Sarah Schulman and Judge Melanie Serber came on board right before the pandemic broke. And I just feel sorry for some of these new judges who are having to start off their judicial careers in this crazy time. And we also had John Parnafiello just appointed from the state attorney's office to fill Judge Paige Gilman's spot. So we've had a lot of action over here in the 15th, not just with COVID, but with everything else that's been going on. This is my 4th year as chief judge, and it has been the greatest honor and privilege of my life to be at the helm of the 15th during this historical year. And I am just so grateful to the Palm Beach County bar members and the leaders in particular who have been so cooperative and so willing to help out in every single arena of the courts by making it easier. The sheriff's office, the state attorney's office, the public defender's office, and the clerk's office run by Sharon Bach have been tremendous partners, and I am extremely grateful to them for all the help during this tumultuous year. We are a large community, but we are still a small community, and I know that all of us are dedicated collectively to making sure that the 15th Circuit has the best reputation in the state, and I do believe that that is true and it remains true. So I thank you all very much. I thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. And, let's see what the next few months, nobody can say it's been boring. And what an honor it has been to serve during this historical time. I certainly will never forget it, and I know none of you will. Thank you very much, and good luck as we continue to go through these challenging times.
I want to say all rise in honor of Judge Marx, but since we are virtual, I'm going to do it like this. Thank you so much, Judge Marx, for your remarks and for your leadership in our circuit and throughout the state. All right, next, I'm going to introduce someone who I call a friend. Many of you may not know who he is, but I guarantee you will not forget him. Walter Bond stands out in the crowd. He is a 6'5" gentleman, graduate of University of Minnesota. He's a former NBA player and commands attention not only because of his height, but because of his voice and because of his message. The accountability speaker travels the globe speaking to masses of people in large corporations. He inspires them, he teaches them in a very unique way, and he is what I would call an authoritative peak performance teacher. He believes in teamwork and to specifically learn how to make specific relationship engagements and build relationships. He is a get it done guy. He is the author of, the newest book is Swim. And this book is really outstanding. In fact, I purchased several of them for law students at FSU College of Law, but it is learning how to have a shark mentality. It's a great read. Walter has several quotes, and one of them is, "Your peak is waiting for you to rise up to it." We are Hamilton fans, and when I went to Broadway, this is I think of this: don't throw away your shot. So this NBA player is, when you hear him, you know that tune in just a few bars. You know what that music is. Don't throw away your shot. I welcome my friend, Walter Bond.
Well, Salesia, thank you so much. And with that kind of introduction, in basketball language, we call that an alley-oop, which means all I got to do is come in and dunk the ball. You know, what I want to do is just ask everyone to cut on the camera, because I want to see you. And there's an old saying, if I don't have your eyes, I don't have your heart. And what I want to do today is really share a message with you that can be transformative. And I only have about 30 minutes with you. And Salesia, just thank you for your relentlessness. Thank you for your tenacity. You know, you couldn't get a hold of me via cell phone. Next thing I know, you're in my living room getting this thing done. You know, so just thank you for being a part of getting me here. And with that being said, when someone vouches for you, you give all you got. And again, what I've been able to do in my life has been an incredible journey. And all I want to do today is just share my story. But more importantly, how does that impact you? You know, a lot of times people sometimes have certain judgments about professional athletes, but they don't understand the journey. You know, we look at LeBron James, who's a superstar. We look at Michael Jordan, and they are your representation of pro athletes. And the truth is, they're very rare. Most professional athletes are like me. They play about 3 years of pro basketball, then they have to transition to something else. And I want to just tell you a story about how the book Swim came into being and what the shark mindset is all about. Because if you understand the shark mindset, you will realize right now that this quarantine, this coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever term you have, could be your biggest blessing. Because in pro sports, we have what we call an off season. Your off season is about 4 or 5 months, sometimes 6 months. And it's when you don't work in your business, you work on your business. So as far as I'm concerned, right now is an off season for the entire world. And the worst thing you can do right now is nothing. And so before I get into my program, I want to challenge everybody who's listening to me today. I don't care if you're a court reporter. I don't care if you're a solo practicing lawyer. I don't care if you're an accounting firm. The worst thing you can do right now is nothing. And the worst thing you can do is to come back after the coronavirus is over and be the same exact professional. If that is you, shame on you. Because as a pro athlete, fans demanded the team got better. Some of you guys are waiting for the Dolphins to get better, right? You drafted the right guy, you picked up the right free agents, but I want you to get better. For some of you Florida State fans, you've been running coaches out of town for the last 10 years, right? Ever since Bobby Bowden, you know, got a little too old and Jimbo Fisher, you demand excellence in Tallahassee. No different with the Hurricanes, no different than any team in Florida, whether it's pro or amateur, you demand your team to get better because staying the same is unacceptable. So that's fine. Got no problem with that. But I want to ask you a question. As a lawyer, are you getting better? As a judge, are you getting better? Right? As a court reporter, are you getting better? All right? You don't have anything to report per se, but what are you working on? How are you driving revenue? What can you do right now to get better? Here's the truth. Chaos is a ladder. Chaos is a ladder. If you don't like your position as a lawyer or a judge or a business practitioner, we're in chaos right now. And if chaos is a ladder, how are you going to take advantage of the coronavirus? What are you going to do different with your off season? So when it's over, right, in another 3 months, 4 months, you know, it seems as if a vaccine is going to be available toward the end of the year. So let's say 2020 was just an off year for all of us. It gave us 12 months to reset. It gave us 12 months to get better. And if you come back the same, that is your fault. And so to me, the clock is ticking. This is a wonderful gift of time. God has given us all an off season. And for me, my business got devastated. I'm an award-winning Hall of Fame keynote speaker. The moment they shut down the world, my business was devastated. But let me tell you something. This has been a gift of time for me, and we're climbing throughout chaos. Why? Because there's so many things I've been wanting to do. There's so many things I didn't have to do. And now, thank God, I finally got a chance to do it. So for us, when this coronavirus is over, we're going to look back and say, oh my God, thank God for the coronavirus, because now I got a break to not work in my business, to work on my business. You know what? For this to make total sense, I want to tell you a little bit about my story. I'm a Chicago kid, born and raised in Chicago. And my parents were teachers. They were educators. My father was a high school principal, and my mother was a kindergarten teacher. And the beauty of me growing up in Chicago, my parents were from the Deep South. My dad was from Tennessee, my mom's from Kentucky. So even though I'm a city kid from Chicago with educated parents, the root of my home was country, Southern, old school. And my parents had two core values. And we've worked with a lot of law firms, right? And we've done corporate retreats with law firms. And it's baffling to me that a lot of law firms don't have core values. You know, here's the truth. A firm is a company. It's a business. You will never have a business without core values. If you don't have core values, how do you govern, right? As a judge, you got things you use to govern. Well, core values do that for companies. Core values does that for organizations. So if you're a law firm and you don't have core values, maybe that's something you can work on in your off season. Maybe making sure that your core values are not tucked away in HR's office. I've talked to CEOs of $400 million companies, and they're frustrated. They're trying to get things done. And I'll ask the CEO a simple question. What are your core values? And one CEO goes, hold on. And I heard him muffle the phone. Hey, get somebody from HR in here. And I thought to myself, you're the CEO of a company and you don't know the core values? The truth is, that's not really a team. That's a building full of individuals. Many businesses, most businesses, are a building full of individuals. And that's why you have chaos. That's why you have apathy. That's why we have poor job satisfaction. That's why we have high turnover. And business leaders, a lot of times, blame their employees, but I'm blaming you. You mean to tell me I come to work and I don't even know what our core values are? So if I don't have a core value to aspire to, what's going to happen? I'm going to bring my own core values. I'm going to bring me to work, right? So you got a building full of people with their own individual core values. Maybe that is something you can work on right now inside of your firm to basically say, you know what are we about? How do we govern ourselves? What is that we absolutely do? What is it that we absolutely don't do? I have never seen a successful organization not have clarity on who they are, what they do, and how they do it. Oh, well, Walter, in the legal business. No, you're in a business, okay? This is a business. If you make money, you are in an industry. You're in a business, and core values govern. My family I grew up in had two core values. My mother was a kindergarten teacher, and every day I left the house, she would just simply talk kindergarten language to me. That's a language. And she would simply say, be sweet, baby. Be sweet. Just be sweet. Get along with people, Walter, and life will be easy. Be sweet, baby. Be sweet. My father would say something very simple. Go get it, son. Go get it. That was his whole philosophy from life. You're talking about a man who grew up in the segregated South and made it all the way to become a high school principal, bought some properties on the South Side, had an incredible journey. And that was his message to me, son, wake up in the morning and go get it. That was a simple message. And so those are the two core values that govern our house. Be sweet, baby, be sweet. And go get it, son, go get it. We were brainwashed by these two core values. If you have kids and your family, let me give you something very powerful. Your family should be a training and development organization, masquerading as a family. Can I ask you guys a question? When you get home, what are your core values? If I ask your kids right now, I know mom's a judge, I know dad's a lawyer, but inside of your family, I know they can run a courtroom. Oh man, they can debate a case. But when you get home, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna ask your kids, not you. I want to ask your kids, what are your core values inside of this home? Well, you know, mom's always on the cell phone. You know, dad's here, but he's always in his office working. Okay. Here's a chance that you can reset. This is a gift of God. If you've been out of control, out of balance, this is a chance to get in control. This is a chance to get balance. Maybe it's not even about your professional career. Maybe it's about your personal life and say, you know what, babe, in our marriage, what are our core values? Okay, you guys, lawyers, you understand divorce is rampant. Why? Because the two individuals never became one because they didn't have core values. If you are married right now with no kids, with kids, it really doesn't matter. Doesn't it make sense for a husband and wife to have core values they both believe in, they both agree to, and they both execute so that they can have a culture inside their home? And so when you start having kids, all they do is become an extension of your core values. My family had two. Be sweet, baby, be sweet, get along with people. And my dad was like, go get it, son. Those two core values position me to be very successful in life. You don't have to have a whole lot of core values. All you got to do is have some core values you believe in. Now, here's a reason why I struggled in my life before I kind of got set on the path to success. My brother and sister were really good students, but all I cared about was sports. I was named after my uncle who played Major League Baseball. My big sister played college basketball, won 2 national championships. My dad's in the Hall of Fame at his college. As the youngest in my family, I was the best athlete, and all I cared about was sports. I was a straight A student in baseball. I was a straight A student in basketball. I was a straight A student in football. And if Muhammad Ali came on, I would dream about being the heavyweight champion. All I cared about was sports. But my parents were teachers and educators. My first high school I went to was a top academic school. A young lady by the name of Michelle Obama went to this high school. This high school in Chicago attracted the smartest kids in Chicago. I did not get accepted, right? Some of you guys applied for your top law school and didn't get in. You know that rejection feeling? I didn't get accepted, so I'm gonna go to another high school. But my dad was a high school principal, and he wrote a letter and got me in. But here's the problem. I went in and I was already defeated because I didn't feel I was worthy. I didn't feel I was legit because I didn't get accepted. The truth is, it doesn't matter what law school you went to. Can you get it done in the courtroom? The truth is, it doesn't matter where your degree came from. Can you get it done in your litigation? The truth is, if you didn't go to the top law school, are you still operating from a position of deficit? Maybe your off-season is about getting your confidence right. Maybe your off-season is about getting better in the courtroom. Maybe your off-season is about getting better education, about what the courtroom is all about, how to be a better storyteller. Have you studied the top lawyers in the game and what made them the top lawyers in the game? See, as an athlete, I can watch Michael Jordan and I can see what greatness looked like. I can watch LeBron James right now and it's clear. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. As a young man, I could look and see what greatness was, and I knew how greatness operated. And then if I was a lawyer, if I was a judge, if I was a court reporter, I would do the same thing. Who are the top accounting firms that serve the legal industry? And I would pay attention. Who are the top litigators? And I would pay attention. Who are the top injury firms? How do they market? How do they build their brand? And I would just pay attention. So my whole life, I just paid attention to sports. And before I knew it, I flunked out of my first high school. And so my dad transferred me to his high school. And on the way to school every morning, he would have me write my goals down. He would say, son, just write your goals down. I want you to look at them every single day because this family produces student athletes. This family produces student athletes. You're just as smart as my other 2 kids. But your value system is screwed up. Here's the truth. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Is your value system right now screwed up? Here's what I believe. I believe we're all in the people business. At the end of the day, we are all in the people business. And I want you to write this down. Successful people know a lot of people. Successful people know a lot of people. The most valuable resource in the world are people. Maybe through this coronavirus, maybe this is a chance for you to build a better network. Maybe this is a chance for you to connect with other lawyers. Maybe this is a chance for you to go and hire a new employee. Maybe this is a chance for you to improve your team. Maybe this is the chance for you to add a new focus for your business, okay? I don't know what it is, but I want you to understand that the most valuable asset that you have are people. How do I know? Because people have been at the forefront of me being successful. Let's take a quick look. Tiger Woods fell apart when his father passed away. The greatest golfer of all time lost a person. And to this day, Tiger Woods, to me, is still trying to figure it out. Michael Jordan was the greatest basketball player in the world until he lost a person. His father passed away. He lost his support, and all of a sudden, Michael Jordan lost himself and went and played baseball. And I knew right away he was trying to mourn and grieve the loss of a person that was very instrumental in his success. So for 3 years, the greatest basketball player of all time, for 8 years, the greatest golfer of all time lost themselves because they lost a key person. I'm gonna say it one more time. Your next level might be contingent on you connecting with the right person or the right people. So a question I want to challenge all my lawyers and everyone who's in the legal industry. How strong is your network? And are you connected to the right people? Because with this gift of time, maybe this is an opportunity for you to connect with the right people. If you're stuck, if you're just kind of frustrated right now, and you know you should be doing better, operating better, making more money, affecting more, having a bigger impact, maybe your next level is about you connecting with the right people, connecting with the right firm, connecting with the right judge. I believe we all should always manage our network. And in a moment, you're gonna understand why this network was so important for me. I flunked out of my first high school, but luckily, I had a person in my house that was an impact player. And all he did is have me write my goals down. And he said, son, look at them every single day. 2 years later, that 2.1 turned into a 2.9. I got to the University of Minnesota on a basketball scholarship. And before I knew it, I was sitting on the bench. I was a high school basketball star. And I forgot that everybody at the Division I level was a high school basketball star. And I saw myself sitting on the bench, and before I knew it, I stopped going to class. And that bad student came back only worse. For the first time in my life, I was not having success in sports. My father called me on the phone. He asked me a question. He said, son, you didn't play this year. Why not? And I said, well, Dad, it's politics, Dad. It's political. One thing I learned about C students, a C student can justify anything. If you're an average lawyer right now, have you justified that? Well, you know, I'm just in a little small town. Well, you know, I just don't have a big staff. Well, you know, I didn't go to a top law school. Here's the truth. A C student is only a C student because they have completely justified being average. Oh, those kids are smarter than me, Dad. That was my excuse at my first high school. Those kids are really smart, Dad. They're smarter than me, C student. I got to college, you're not playing, son, why not? Politics, Dad, it's political, C student. Before I knew it, that C student came back, but now I'm a C student in sports. And he said, son, where's your goal sheet? Son, where's your goal sheet? I fumbled through my dorm room, and I said, Dad, here it is. He said, son, look at it every single day like I taught you. Always keep your goals in plain sight like I taught you. I took my goals and put them on the mirror, and this is what they were. One day, I'm going to play in the NBA. I did not play a lick my freshman year. I'm going to graduate in 4 years. And at that time, I hadn't been to class in a couple of weeks. And I said, I'm going to make more money in business than I did in sports. He said, son, I taught you to look at your goals every single day. Don't you ever let your goals out of your sight. And before I knew it, I started going back to class. And I went to my coach and I said, Coach, what do I need to do to play in the NBA? When I first had that conversation, my coach laughed in my face. He said, son, you don't play for me. And I said, Coach, I'm going to become somebody different next year. And that's what he said to me. Son, you can't run, you can't jump, you can't dribble, you can't shoot, you can litigate better, you can argue your point better, you should select better cases, you don't have a niche. Listen, people, especially lawyers, hear me. There are riches in niches. If I did a Google search on your law firm, what niche do you own? Are you trying to be all things to all people? You ever go to a restaurant and they have this humongous menu? There's no way they can do all of those dishes excellently. Most great restaurants have a really small menu because they can nail every one of those dishes to perfection. Maybe your off season is not about more. Maybe your off season is about less. Maybe your off season is about getting a niche and owning your niche. He said, son, you got to attack your off season. You got to get bigger, stronger, and faster. That next year, I was voted most improved player. We went all the way to the Sweet 16. And I went back to my coach and said, Coach, what do I need to do to play in the NBA? And every year I was voted most improved player. And I began to turn my weaknesses into a strength. And just like in high school, I stopped being a C student. And I began to transform my work ethic. I began to transform my mindset until I became an NBA ball player. So one day I'm fishing down in South Florida. And I can relate to Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods because I lost my dad to prostate cancer. And as a motivational speaker, my job is to motivate everybody else. But when I lost that person, that one person that knew how to talk to me, that one person who always knew how to challenge me, that one person who knew how to push me was taken away. So I'm fishing and I catch this suckerfish. And I don't know if you guys fish. A suckerfish is the ugliest fish in the ocean. And I asked the captain of the boat, I said, man, what kind of fish is that? Can we eat it? He goes, no, but watch this. He takes the suckerfish and sticks it on the top of the boat. And the suckerfish has a suction on the top of his head. It looks like the bottom of a tennis shoe. And that suckerfish defied gravity for about 3 minutes. And I kept fishing, looking at the fish, and I said, man, let's get this fish back in the water. And this was my question. How did this ugly little weak fish make it in the ocean? And this is what he said to me. A suckerfish is flailing in the ocean, waiting for a shark to come by. And when the shark comes by, it uses the only resource it has to connect to the shark. And all of a sudden, I had a metaphor in my mind. Man, that's a coaching metaphor. That's a mentoring metaphor. And that's also the metaphor of my life. You see, in that moment, I realized that I was a suckerfish. My first shark was my dad. Go get it, son. Go get it. My second shark was my college basketball coach. Son, you got to get better. You got to attack your offseason. When my NBA career ended, my third shark was my wife. I didn't make Kobe Bryant money. I didn't make LeBron James money. I made Walter Bond money. We had enough money to make it for a year. And my wife says, honey, you want to be a successful business guy? We got to join the country club. And I thought to myself, what is a brother like me going to do in the country club? Have you lost your mind? She said, we got to get you around successful business people. We joined the country club in Minneapolis, and accessing successful business people began to change my world. I began to just pay attention, just like I watched Michael Jordan. I used to pay attention, just like I watched Magic. And I would watch how for people talked. And I watched how successful business people walked. I watched the confidence of successful business people. And before I knew it, I looked at my wife and I said, babe, we're going to be okay. And one business guy came to me, and I was clueless. I was lost. I knew nothing about business. I never had a real job. He said, man, you're a natural born salesman. Like, what do you mean? Dude, you are a natural born salesman. I was like, okay, now you got to break that down to me. I need to understand what that means. He says, Walter, you are a really nice guy, and you are really good with people. And I thought about my mama. Be sweet, baby. Be sweet. I thought about my daddy. Go get it, man. Go get it. I thought about my wife. We got to get you around successful business people. Can I ask you a question? Who is that person in your life that's going to help you get to your next level? In other words, if you are a sucker fish right now, who is your shark? Who is your mentor? Who is that person who pushes you, who drives you, who gives you clarity so that you can reach your potential in your career? When I got off that boat that day, I came home. My wife goes, how'd it go? I said, amazing. She was like, where's the fish? Like, babe, I didn't catch any fish. But I got an idea for a book. And that's how we wrote the book, Swim. Swim is about the shark mindset. And I'm gonna share the six, we call it the sacred six of a shark. And this is why they run the ocean. This is why Tiger Woods is the best. This is why Michael Jordan is the best. And this is why you're going to be the best. And if you get a chance, I would love to get your hands on this book. It's a bestseller. In less than a year, we sold 10,000 copies. Only 95% of books ever written, they never get over 5,000 copies. We are in rare air because one of our mentors is a guy named Mark Victor Hansen who wrote Chicken Soup for Your Soul. I'm not too proud to ask for a mentor. I believe we all need to be mentored and we all need to mentor someone else. And I'm gonna close with this. When I got home, I began to do research on sharks. And now I know why they run the ocean. I'm gonna run through these sacred six really quickly, and I'm gonna encourage you again to pick up the book Swim. It's a business parable, and it's an amazing story about a guy named Drew. You gotta read this book, and the star of the book is Drew. I need you to become Drew. First of all, sharks never stop moving or they die. How strong is your work ethic, honestly? That's a rhetorical question. How strong is your work ethic right now? Sharks never stop moving or they die. The way they breathe is through their activity. The way they breathe is through their movement. They are always in attack mode. They are always looking for the next case, the next opportunity. They are always looking for the next mentor, the next coach. Sharks are always moving. Sharks only look up. They never look down, which means sharks are positive and they're not petty. They don't deal with anything beneath them. Through this gift of time called the coronavirus, how positive have you been? What's the benefit of the coronavirus? Sharks only look up. They never look down. Sharks are curious and always learning. Sacred six, number 3. How are you doing with your professional development credits? Are you always waiting to the last minute, December, and scrambling to get them in? This is a great gift of time for you to actually work on your professional development credits. And choose credits that are going to improve you and not just are easy. As an athlete, you got to turn a weakness into a strength. Imagine if you focus on your professional development credits and you focused on things that you need to improve in. Walter, you can't run, you can't jump, you can't dribble, you can't shoot, you can't rebound. I turn weaknesses into strength. Right now, can you turn your weakness into a strength? Sharks are respectful of other sharks and they are respectful of their environment. How much respect do you have for your peers? When's the last time you called another lawyer and said, you know what, I respect the hell out of you. I love the way you litigate. I love the way you have your storytelling. I love your presentation. I love your courtroom presence. I love your law firm. I love your business model. I really respect you, Judge. Man, as a court reporter, you are so important to me. Just when's the last time you just went to your network and just tell everybody thank you and I respect you and I need you? When's the last time you did that? Here's a problem with networking events. We go to networking events, we typically take. Most people don't go to networking events to give. If people are the most powerful resource in the world at your disposal, do you see people as something you can take from? Or do you see people as something you can give to? Sharks are respectful of their environment and they respect other sharks. The reason why we get a lot of shark bites is that they don't even like the way we taste. So typically a shark bites into a human and they spit it out because they don't like it. They confuse us with turtles a lot. They love turtles, but they hate the way we taste. That's why you rarely, almost never hear about a person getting eaten alive by a shark, because a shark is respectful. They don't just eat to kill, they eat to live. So they bite us and leave us alone because they made a mistake. When's the last time you bit into the wrong thing and spit it out your mouth? Because you realize you shouldn't be touching this as a lawyer. You shouldn't be doing this as a judge. You didn't mean to bite into it, but the moment you bit into it, you spit it out because that's not a part of your core value. It's not a part of who you are. Here's the best part about a shark, and I'm gonna close with this. Sharks are made of cartilage, which means they're flexible. They know when to pivot. They know when to change. They know when to shift. When my basketball career ended, guys, I had no skill set. But all I had was a support system. And all I had were people. So at 31 years old, I had to make the biggest pivot of my life because the focus it takes to play pro sports, you didn't have time to develop other skill sets. That's why it breaks my heart when people are so hard on pro athletes after their career is over. To become the best in the world in sports requires total commitment and total focus from like 8 years old to like 31, 35, and you don't have time to develop other interests or to develop other skill sets. And thank God for my wife's support, her encouragement, her business background, her entrepreneurial spirit. We were able to pivot out of sports and build a global training and development company, helping Fortune 500 companies. And now I sit on corporate boards. So when I was on that boat and caught that sucker fish, I remember that I flunked out of my first high school. I remember sitting on a bench in college. So people see me now, Walter, you're a star. Well, you know, it worked out. But the truth is, I have failed in my life. The truth is, I am humble because I realized that I needed people in my life to help me. Sharks are flexible. They know when to pivot. They know when to change. They know when to shift. If you're doing something that's not working, change. And finally, sharks are great teammates. That's the sixth of the sacred six. Sharks are great teammates. No matter how powerful a shark is, they know they need a teammate, and that's why they work with the suckerfish. When a suckerfish connects with the shark, the suckerfish gets free rides in the ocean. The suckerfish gets to eat every time the shark makes a kill. So the question is, why does the shark let the suckerfish connect to him? No matter how big a shark gets, they're vulnerable to parasites. If a parasite gets into the nostrils, if a parasite gets into the gill, a parasite can set up shop, and the shark is a perfect host for a parasite. So no matter how big and powerful a shark is, they know they are vulnerable to parasites. So in exchange for these free rides in the ocean, in exchange for this support and free meals, the suckerfish got one job to do: to eat the parasite and keep the shark clean. In your law firm, who's managing your culture and who's keeping your shark clean? When you get home, who's managing your marriage? Who's keeping your marriage clean? When you think about your whole life and your whole future, you got to take an off season every single year so that you can get bigger, you can get stronger, so you can get faster. You cannot stay the same. So to me, coronavirus is a gift of time so that we can reset. Maybe it's about your physical health. Maybe it's about your marriage. Maybe it's about your kids. Maybe it's about your business. You choose, you decide, but what you can't do is stay average. What you can't do is to be a C student, and the only reason a person is average, the only reason a person is a C student, maybe they don't have the right coach, maybe they don't have the right mentor, or maybe they don't have the right people on their team. Here's what I want to do. I'm going to put a link into the chat, and I want you to do this assessment for me, and all we're going to do is measure your team. That's all I want to do. I want to just take a look at your team. It might be 2 people, it might be 10 people, it might be 30 people. The one thing I understand as a former NBA ball player, and now with a global training and development company, is that we're all in the people business. And I'm only here before you, honestly, because I've had the right people on my team. I had to do my part, but the honest truth is, the most valuable resource on this earth are people. Your dream might be a person away. Your next level might be a person away. And if Michael Jordan, the most mentally tough athlete we'd ever seen, loses himself for 3 years because he didn't have support, you need support. If Tiger Woods, the most mentally tough and gifted golfer we'd ever seen, completely lost himself for about 8 years, and he might not still understand what's going on. Why? Because he lost a person. He lost his support. He lost his shark. The truth is that we all need people. So in the chat, if I can, I don't even think I have access into it. If you can go to youriteam.com, whoever is facilitating, just put www.youriteam.com. Go to the website, click Getting Started, and there's an assessment. All I want you to do is it takes about 10 minutes. And I want you to just get a chance to measure your squad, measure your team, and we can follow up and just kind of give you the doctor's report on how strong your team is. And maybe we can have a conversation on how to improve your squad, your team, and the people around you. So Salesia, thank you so much for being persistent. Thank you so much for showing up at my house and demanding I'll be your speaker today. And I just want wish you guys the best. This is a gift of time. This is your off season. You got to get bigger, stronger, and faster. And the way you do it, you got to develop that shark mindset. And sharks understand that they need the right people around them to get them to the next level. God bless you. Have an awesome time today. This has been Walter Bond, and I'm signing out. God bless.
Thank you so much, Walter. Thank you. We will not throw away our shot. We will be sharks. We will be better. We will be faster. We will be bigger. And thank you for your inspiring words and your message. You are a giant. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next, I want to introduce my co-chair, Mike Pike. Mike, I just realized today that we do have something in common. Mike is a jiu-jitsu karate expert. I'm Kempo style. I'm not an expert, but I'm working on it. So I want to present to you my co-chair, Mike Pike. Thank you.
What about now? Can you hear me now? What about now?
There you go, you're on.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to thank the entire Palm Beach County Bar Association, Carla, and as well as Lynn, Salesia, Jessica, and everybody who's really taking a part in organizing this. It's time in our program to present our annual Diversity and Professionalism Award. Plus, we have a newly created award, so don't go away. Denise Mutumba is a co-chair of our committee for diversity and inclusion, and she is going to present the Judge Edward Rodgers Diversity Award. So with that, I turn it over to Denise.
Thanks, Mike. As Mike mentioned, my name is Denise Mutumba, and I had the honor of co-chairing, along with Jean Marie Middleton, the Committee for Diversity and Inclusion for the 2019-2020 bar year. Each year, the Committee for Diversity and Inclusion presents the Judge Edward Rodgers Diversity Award to an individual or organization that demonstrates a consistent pattern of commitment to the recruitment, retention, and promotion of diverse individuals, exhibits visionary and insightful leadership to confront and resolve inequities through strategic decision-making and allocation of resources. This year's recipient received more than one nomination. One nominator wrote, "He is passionate about diversity and inclusion, and he walks the walk, always making introductions, mentoring, and networking to provide opportunities to persons of diverse backgrounds, especially Hispanics and women." Another nominator expressed her gratitude of his encouragement for her to take on a leadership role with the Palm Beach County Commission on Ethics. His encouragement resulted in her becoming the first African-American female to serve as the commissioner for that body. She also stated that he influenced other great mentors, such as the late Judge Sasser and past Palm Beach Bar President John Howe, to seek the bench and to seek leadership roles within the Palm Beach County Bar Association. As many of you know, Judge Sasser was the first Indian American to take the bench in Palm Beach County, and Judge Howe was the first African American president of the Palm Beach County Bar Association. Over 10 years ago, while serving as the first Hispanic president of the Palm Beach County Bar Association, he authored an article in the Palm Beach Bar's Bulletin about inclusiveness in the legal community. This year's recipient has demonstrated a dedicated legal career of mentorship, commitment, and promotion of diverse individuals. I'm not surprised to learn that Judge Edward Rodgers personally influenced his legal career. During a conversation with him, he told me a story of his first case in court. His first case in court was in front of a judge who, in his own words, beat me up. He fondly described how this judge, Judge Rodgers, encouraged him and let him know that being just enough was not acceptable. As a diverse attorney, our recipient had to be the absolute best under any circumstance. It is such an honor for me to present the 2020 Judge Edward Rodgers Diversity Award to Manny Ferrac.
Thank you, Denise. Thank you, members of the committee, and thank you to the bar for this award. As you can probably surmise, I'm coming to you from my home office, and you can see on the wall behind me my law books and the other things that are really important to me in my life. You see pictures of my children, my daughters there, and right behind me you see the Diversity Award. This means a whole lot to me, and not just because I tried my first case before Judge Rodgers, but also because of what he taught me. And look, yeah, I tried this case last century in the old courthouse. I'm a little bit of a senior lawyer. And way back when, there just weren't that many diverse attorneys in Palm Beach County. And very frankly, I was a little miffed because Judge Rodgers really pretty much took the 2x4 and beat me upside the head several times with it. And I said, you know, what's going on here? And, we're sort of from the same environment. I would expect at least something down the middle, if not some benefits. And, didn't get that at all. I didn't understand that for a while. But then I thought about it some more. And I thought about Judge Rodgers and what he did. Look, he integrated our community. But not just that, he integrated it with grace and humanity. And he did it in a really wonderful fashion. You think of Judge Rodgers, you think of other folks like him, George Varga, Moses Baker, Nancy Perez, and for the newer lawyers, Minu Sasser, Mariano Garcia, and of course, Salesia Smith Gordon. And stop to think about them. What do all these people have in common? Yes, they are all diverse, but that's not their defining characteristic. I really enjoyed Walter Bond's presentation because it reminded me of Demetra and Bemitra Liggins. They teach diversity to corporate America through a website called corporatehomie.com. It's wonderful. They're diverse themselves, but they like to remind people that, and this is their quote, diversity is not a substitute for excellence. So what do all these people that we just mentioned have in common? Yes, they were and are all excellent lawyers and excellent human beings. But maybe what they have is what Judge Rodgers was trying to teach me in that particular trial. And he was trying to teach me that I had to up my game because there is no substitute for excellence. And maybe, just maybe, that's what he taught all of us. Thank you very much for this award, and especially Judge Rodgers for everything that he taught us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Denise, and congratulations, Manny. Our next award is our annual Sidney A. Stubbs Professionalism Award, presented by Kathy Kozell, who is the co-chair of our Professionalism Committee. Kathy?
Thank you, Mike. Good morning. My name is Kathy Kozell, and I am the co-chair of the Professionalism Committee along with Cindy Crawford. It is our honor and privilege to give out this year's Professionalism Award to a man who exemplifies professionalism, both in the work atmosphere and in his personal life. He is the man that you immediately think of when you say the word professionalism. I have known this man for approximately 10 years and have worked with him on countless committees. He is always willing to give of his time and is always the consummate professional in doing so. I have watched him in professionalism panels sternly admonish someone for unprofessional behavior, yet at the same time always doing so with courtesy and decorum, to the point that these people are actually thanking him for his advice when they leave the panel. This man is not only an accomplished and phenomenal attorney in his own right, but he has always had the incredible ability to treat others involved in whatever he is doing with dignity and respect. In closing, I'm going to take a quote from the person who nominated this man for the Professionalism Award. Mark Twain once said, "Keep away from people who try to belittle your ambitions. Small people always do that. But the really great people make you feel that you too can become great." This is the essence of this man. It is with great pleasure and honor that we give the Sidney Stubbs Professionalism Award to Mr. Bill Pruit.
Thank you, Kathy. I really appreciate those kind words. I'm truly honored to receive this recognition. And I want to congratulate Manny too on his recognition. That's an extremely important award as well. I've got to start out by thanking some very special people. Kathy, I appreciate all the help you gave me on the committee. I want to thank Julia Wida for her support, her commitment to professionalism and the nomination. Patience Burns, for her leadership with the Palm Beach County Bar. I appreciate that, and for getting me more involved in bar activities. And of course, Carla Tharp Brown, who has brought the Palm Beach County Bar through the loss of its offices, through a fire, and now through a pandemic. Carla is quite a leader to get us through all of that. There are 5 special, very important people who are partners to me, who help me understand what is important in this world. My wife, of course, I don't know, stealing from Mr. Bond, if she'd appreciate me saying she's my shark, but I think lawyers are supposed to be the sharks, but she has really helped me. My son, Braden, who's now my law partner and is a 4th generation Florida lawyer. Of course, my dad, who was my mentor. And I can't not thank my support staff at the office. Jeannie Knight and Cheryl Stewart have helped me many times craft a better way to express something in a letter, an email, or a pleading. 41 years, I've only had 1 wife and 1 office assistant, and they have kept me on the right path. I also need to thank all of the outstanding attorneys and judges who have inspired me by example, many of them past recipients of this prestigious award. Having grown up with 2 grandfathers, Robert Ernest and William J. Pruitt, a father, 2 uncles, one of which was a federal magistrate, and all of which were Florida lawyers, I wanted to be an attorney as soon as I knew I couldn't be a cowboy or a Major League Baseball player. I knew lawyers and judges who were, with few exceptions, professional and respectable attorneys like Sid Stubbs. I saw Mr. Stubbs in practice. He was a friend of my father's, and knowing Mr. Stubbs makes this even more special to me. My father was my partner for 37 years and a wonderful mentor for a lifetime. He taught me to be honest and engaged. He taught me to counsel as well as advocate and to address the central issues and not get caught up in unnecessary conflict. He taught me it costs you time, costs your clients money, and does not help your reputation. It does nothing to create a better feeling with other lawyers or judges. I recall him referring to an attorney one time saying, he's a very good lawyer. He doesn't need to be so nasty and disagreeable. He can get good results without that. I hope I can set the same example for my son. I would ask that everybody remember what an honor it is to be licensed to practice law, how hard it was to get there. Remember the oath of admission that says, to opposing parties and their counsel, I pledge fairness, integrity, civility, not only in court, but in all written and oral communications. It's important that we remember and become familiar with what professionalism panels do, as Kathy mentioned. Strive to abide by professionalism expectations and rules of civility. We're practicing the trying times right now. Most of our clients and many attorneys are facing stressful times. As we come back from this challenge, activity will pick up. Court dockets will be backlogged, as Judge Marx told us earlier. Disputes and transactions will peak with anxiety, emotion, and stress. As we come out of this phase, practice dressing and acting professionally. I had to remember how to tie a tie. Be honest and candid with the court and adversaries. Resolve what you can. Please don't use court time or your client's time for petty or inconsequential disputes that weigh little on the ultimate issue. As Mr. Bonds encouraged us, come back better. My award is behind me as well as Manny had his. It's a very important thing to have. Good luck to you all. Thank you again for this special recognition, and stay safe.
Thank you, Kathy, and congratulations, Bill, on the award. We have a newly created award this year, and for this, we're going to turn to our Young Lawyers immediate past president, Scott Perry, who will give you the explanation of this new award. Scott?
Good morning. My name is Scott Perry, and I am the immediate past president of the Young Lawyers section of the Palm Beach County Bar. And on behalf of the Young Lawyers section and the Palm Beach County Bar, we are honored to present the inaugural Nino T. Sasser Mentorship Award. Now, Judge Sasser was a shining example of what it meant to be a lawyer and a judge, always on the front line of mentoring. I had the distinct pleasure of both practicing in front of her as well as working with her on many seminars and sessions. Her goal was always to make the lawyers of Palm Beach County better lawyers through teaching, mentorship, and opportunity. This is why she brought the Young Lawyers section, what we call the Sidebar Series, to Palm Beach County. It was a quarterly seminar on various topics such as cross-examination, opening statements, uniform motion calendar hearings, and summary judgment hearings. Some of the biggest speakers we've had as guest speakers at the seminars included Professor Earhart, Justice Luck, and Roy Black. As many of you know, she also began a pilot program just before her unfortunate passing, designed to give preferential trial and special set hearing time to any firm that was willing to give a young lawyer the opportunity to participate, whether arguing the motion or participating substantially in the trial. Again, all in the name of mentoring and experience. And I know it was not just to the lawyers, but also to the new judges that she took the time to help mentor. This is because, at her core, she wanted to make the profession of the law better. It is only therefore fitting that a yearly award be created in Judge Sasser's name to be presented to the judge or lawyer who best exemplifies this spirit of mentorship for the lawyers in Palm Beach County. As such, it is with great honor that we present, once again, the inaugural award posthumously to Judge Nino Sasser. Thank you.
Well, folks, I can tell you that coordinating the bench bar this year has been a interesting task for both myself and Salesia. I do want to personally thank Salesia for all of her hard work and teamwork, because there were times that Salesia wasn't available and times that I was not available, that we made sure that we covered each other. And I think that was key to making the Palm Beach County Bar Bench Conference the first successful virtual bench bar conference. In fact, we're going to be having 19 of these virtual sessions to make up for the loss of the full day that we usually have over at the Palm Beach County Convention Center. So with that, Salesia and I want to thank every Palm Beach County Bar staff member, executive director, Carla, Lynn, and everyone that assisted in making this event happen, including all of our committee chairs and our panelists. So with that, thank you very much, and we'll be getting back with you later on the other sessions. Thank you very much.